Everyone like the lawyer read the will. The mahogany-panelled office buzzed with quiet chatter as relatives of the late Gregory Langford gathered for the reading of his will. Most wore expensive black clothes, designer watches, and the air of entitled expectation. They hadn't seen Gregory in years, but they all knew he'd been wealthy, and they came with open hands. In the corner, seated quietly on the edge of a leather chair, was a plain woman in a modest grey dress. Her name was Helen, no last name anyone there recognized. Her shoes were worn at the soles, and she clutched a simple purse as if it held everything she owned. Several of the Langfords exchanged amused glances. Someone even whispered, "She must be the help." Another chuckled, "Probably got lost on the way to the staff entrance." Helen said nothing. She looked down at her hands, her knuckles white from how tightly she held them together. She remembered Gregory not as a businessman, but as the kind old man who'd fed stray cats behind the park and once bought her lunch when she was homeless. They had met by chance, and over time formed an unlikely friendship. The room hushed as the family lawyer, Mr. Denton, stepped in and opened a large brown envelope. He began the reading, listing off a few sentimental heirlooms left to various nieces and nephews, watches, cufflinks, and paintings. The beneficiaries nodded in vague appreciation. Those weren't what they had come for. Then Mr. Denton cleared his throat. "And finally," he said, glancing over his glasses, "to my dear friend Helen Whitlow, the only person who truly saw me in the last years of my life, I leave the remainder of my estate. This includes the house, all bank accounts, investments, and business shares, totaling approximately $8.4 million. A gasp ran through the room. Silence fell like a dropped curtain. Someone stammered, "Who?" Mr. Denton nodded toward Helen. "Helen Whitlow, the woman sitting right here." All eyes turned, some with disbelief, some with anger, one or two with shame. Helen blinked, stunned. "There must be a mistake," she whispered. "No mistake," Mr. Denton replied gently. Mr. Langford wrote this with complete clarity. He said, and I quote, "She showed me kindness when I was just an old man in a park. She expected nothing and gave everything. That is the person I trust with my legacy." Helen's eyes welled with tears. The same people who had laughed at her now looked lost, some furious, others just confused. But Helen stood quietly, offering no triumph, only the humble dignity of a person who had never sought a reward. She left the office that day not only as a millionaire, but as the living reminder that worth isn't measured by appearances, and kindness, though often overlooked, leaves the deepest legacy of all. Would you like this adapted into a video script?